Good.
It's a good excuse
Let
to
me.
put makeup, no, and good and clean
Absolutely.
clothes.
To put some nice clothes, not just socks and
Me too. I put some lipstick. And yeah, we
all day
have.
long clothes. And finally, I'm like, I'm dressing up for this.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's finally is a good excuse. We are. I don't know how it's in other world, but we are like 10 days in isolation already. Yes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the only one excuse we have is to do interviews from the home.
Absolutely. I think it's
Yeah.
great. Great. Actually, I've been in contact with many friends of mine, even more than usual through videos and things, because you have so much time, and when you're thinking about all the other people in all over the world, you're calling them, and it's kind of very social in a social way.
It's really now the time making us more social, I think, more than we
Yeah.
expected, because I also started to speak more with my friends, with my family. I don't know, and with Adrian, we started to speak more.
Yeah, because now you're home.
I'm joking.
Because now, Marina, you don't fly around to rehearsals, meetings, classes. You're home.
Yeah, it is, and it's nice. Okay, let's start. We have 20 people. 26 is already listening us, and we are ready. Hello, everybody. So where we are now, we decided to start the series of interview around jazz. The wine is good. The wine is good. I was thinking about this. I have.
Cheers.
I have the tea. Because I was thinking
You
that.
help.
So we decided to start the series of interview with the artist who was dancing, singing, playing, musicians, DJs, dancers in Jazz Between, or like the artists that we inspired to start this series of interview around to speak about jazz, not jazz, and also to know more about our artists, because me personally, I know only some common facts about you, Ksenia, also, and this opportunity really to know you more, where you started, like about your past, about your inspiration, about some projects or dreams. And this is about this Just Between Us interview. We will be doing online, also recording this interview, and we put it in, I think, in YouTube to have it there. So we ready to start? Ksenia, ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, let's. I structured our speech in 3 parts, like past, present, and future. And
Okay.
it will be interesting to start with the past, as usual. And the first question will be, let's speak about, let's start not usual, yeah? And let's speak first about the one song, jazz song, that first time made you dance. So what song motivated you or inspired you to dance first time? Tell us a little about this year, maybe this time, approximately, if you remember, and what happened, how it was happened, your first dance class.
Actually, it's a very difficult question because I don't have a clue. What was the song? No, in truth, I have a clue, but no one except you, Marina, probably would know that song. The first time I ever bounced off the walls in the apartment in St. Petersburg when I was like 5 years old was Valery Mеладзе. It's some Russian typical.
Explain who is this, because they don't know.
But Mеладзе is a Russian estrada, like a pop singer. Russian singer. One of his songs, he's actually a very beautiful singer, songwriter, and it's not some typical stupid lyrics. It's quite beautiful and deep storytelling and everything. So one of his songs was just playing on my mother's birthday, and I was just dancing to it somehow irrationally. But that's not very interesting, really, to talk about now. Today, Today there's so many tunes that make me want to dance. I was like preparing more, at least from today's songs that just will bounce me off the couch.
So you don't want to put Miladze now.
Ah?
You don't want to put Miladze song now.
No. I don't even have the Russian.
It's cool. It's
I
cool.
don't even have the Russian word.
The cue was the point was to listen some songs during this interview from Ksenia, yes, and so I asked her to prepare the song that made her dance. So and now I'm insisting to put Milad. Because this song was making you dance, I think that there was some grooves or some beats, no? Or no?
Oh my God. But I only can say approximately because I remember it was him, but I don't remember exactly the song. So let's go for, oh my gosh, oh my God.
Yeah, you just put and we listen in your song some moments, you know, 1-2 minutes.
Что по ним, как бабочка, порхала, и даря поклонникам мечты, сердца никому не обещала.
So unexpectable.
You're moving now, eh?
Но прекрасный огненный цветок ты сорвать от тело, как белый мотылёк.
How is this? Just okay.
But wait, there is a bridge.
How it was happening that you started to dance jazz? Well, maybe some story about this.
How did I start to dance jazz?
Yes.
Before I started jazz, the jazz was like only 2010, so not so long time ago, actually, only 10 years. But before that, I was dancing ballroom, competitive ballroom dancing, and music there. I wouldn't even talk about music there because no one talked about music there, and it was this generic, boring stuff with specific rhythms, you know. Okay, now it's a samba rhythm, so whatever the song, now it's the chatter rhythm. Nobody talked about music, nobody talked about names. It was just for tempos and lengths, you know, and specific beat. But then the jazz started, I started to like jazz music a bit earlier, before I started dancing, maybe 2005 or something. I was listening to this radio station called Radio Hermitage in St. Petersburg.
No?
Yeah, from St. Petersburg. And at that moment, and my sister kind of introduced me to this. She just arrived, she was living already in Sweden. She arrived to St. Petersburg, to our home, and just put the radio on. And I was like, what is this? And so I never knew, I never knew musicians. And later on, when with the internet, when you could Google for things and they got their website, you could, I would know that they played Lester Young, Oscar Peterson, Louis Armstrong. Sometimes they would play more like Marvin Gaye. They would have more funk and soul parts, and then jazz, and then arranged classical music arranged in jazz and things like this. So really, for a long time, I was just listening that. And, you know, I was listening it during the night as well. And I remember those crazy moments when they would have like a service, you know, service cleaning hour or 2 hours when they stop broadcasting and all you hear is pshh. And how many times during a week I would wake up like at 3 in the morning just because music stopped and I would hear pshh and I would be like, service hour, damn it, you know. But I was listening to it on loop 24 hours like this, you know. And I guess this done a lot to me, you know, because as we say in jazz dancing, you want to understand how rhythms work, how movement go into music. You have to understand the music. How do you understand the music? You just listen to it a lot, you know. So, and then just one day, a friend of mine in a theater, I was in a musical theater, and she came and said, "Oh, Ksenia, you know, I know you love jazz and stuff. I just found out some classes. They do step, step, triple step, you know, this kind of thing to your jazz music." I'm like, step, step, triple step? What do you mean? Like jive? Because jive was ballroom dance I did, which is step, step, triple step. She's like, no, it's different. You should come. So I came, and that's it. And I stayed.
Okay,
Wow.
nice. So we go to the next question. It's connected with what?
With the same that we are going about the past, is like when it was the moment that it was your head doing a blow mine in one concert or one party or one practice. When it was this moment that all the dances we had that the mind was totally blow up.
For me to watch or for me to experience? Both. I think my big moment was it was at my birthday, and I just took my friend to go to Jazz Philharmonic Hall. We have in St. Petersburg, Jazz Philharmonic Hall, where they play beautiful music. It's usually super expensive tickets for rich people who go there to dine and have no understanding of what's on stage. And so I just went there, and there were tables. And the beautiful thing about this hall was as well that they had a dance hall there, so the dance space among the tables, but it was always empty. No one ever danced there because, well, gosh, what would they dance? They had no clue. So they just ate their dinner and drank their wine and listened to whatever was on stage. And I was there with my friend, and it was some Dixieland orchestra playing. And I was sitting and thinking, I just literally just learned my first 3 steps in jazz, and just literally touched on the idea of what it is to improvise for free, like not for free, but freely, you know? And so I was sitting for the 1 hour and thinking, oh my God, I cannot sit anymore. I have to dance to it. But the dance floor is completely empty. And I don't really know exactly what to dance. Like, I know ballroom, you know, all that. And I was sitting there thinking, it's my birthday today. If I don't go right now, the last song, they announced that if I don't go, that's it. Like, I would not forgive myself. So I was just like, damn it, I'm going. So I stood up, and so all of a sudden, 50 people who stopped eating their chicken looked at me, and all of a sudden I'm like, okay, I have to do something here right now. You know, Dixieland is playing, so it's swinging, but I know 3.5 steps. And so I started wobbling around the room, and all of a sudden, like, this was just a moment when I was carried away by everything, passion, feeling, music, and I didn't really know what style to dance, which step to do, how to do it, but I was just doing it somehow with a lot of passion. And I think from that moment, because ballroom has no improvisation element, you know, so in this moment I was just like, my goodness, you know, this is the point. This is all the point of dancing. Like, this is how it should be. Yeah.
That's nice. And the question that we missed, and also when you started to speak about the first classes and the first dance, the question is, who was your first teacher or inspired like person in dance? It can be in virtual, like videos that you've been following him or her, or who was your real teacher in real life, or you was learning jazz by your own?
I know, with jazz, I started with Fyodor Nedotko. Fyodor Nedotko is the one and only, and forever, ever, the one and only. Yeah. Running a school, Casa Latina in St. Petersburg, and he was the one who kind of started with the whole swing thing there. And he's very, very unique. He was my first teacher and was seriously big inspiration. He as well came from ballroom dance and just transformed into this gypsy, almost like he almost became, I don't know, from Africa. He looks like it. He moves like he talks like this, like, you know, like as if he's Louis Armstrong or something. And he's doing all sorts of Latin dances like Afro-Cuban rumba and swing. So he was my first teacher. He's very,
wow, cool. I didn't know this.
Super eccentric as well, very funny, opinionated, super intelligent and knowledgeable. So it was just like a cultural emerging, you know, when I was with him. But then my first, because in jazz, I started by myself my journey straight away with 20s, because I was still coming like from theater, and I really loved acting, and I loved pretending, and I loved exaggerated mime stuff. So for me, silent movies and 20s and everything that has to do with the poses and moves was perfect. So my inspirations were all the silent movies, the Charlie Chaplin movies, Anne Pennington, flappers from 20s, you know, this kind of little clips that you can find in the depths of the YouTube. You know?
Wow, so cool. So cool. So you was kind of trying to be, well, you was inspired by actresses in reality, yeah? Like actresses who was dancing. Yeah?
Yes, like a performance. Yeah, a dance is a performance.
Performing.
Yeah.
Wow, that's nice. And
Yeah.
let's go to the next one about the dream, or me?
You.
Okay, so when you started to dance, yes, and for sure, like every person in art or in general, you started to have your first dream in dance. Can you tell us what was your first dream in dance when you only started? Yes, what did you want in that moment to achieve? And tell us some checkpoints maybe during your career now. Yes, at this moment you can see, you can look to the past and to see through what checkpoints finally you was going through to arrive to this dream. Maybe you already arrived to the dream, maybe it's still there, maybe you changed the dream. About this, yeah. What was your first dream?
Oh, you let me really dig into my life.
Of course, it's a psychology session.
I'd say my dreams changed, so I could even like see those parts of life where there was a certain maybe dream or aspiration, and then like something slightly moved, and all of a sudden it's a little different aspiration. Probably in the very beginning when I was doing the ballroom, I just wanted to be like the champions of the ballroom competition. There was a Finnish couple, which in the name I don't even remember now, and because it was like 1998, you know, long time ago. So yeah, the goal, it was competitive dance. So my whole dream was like, I'm gonna win and a C, D, A, B class, and then I'm gonna be like those my favorite Finnish dancers at the championship, you know. I did never go to international levels, so the highest things we reached with my partner, I think. And we were with my partner for 9 years dancing together. It was so strange. But we were third in SNG, like the ex-USSR. The third couple in after the results of 3 years competitions or something like this. Anyways, and then when my path changed and it kind of went very theatrical, so theater and different dance styles, it's an in-between phase like ballroom and then the jazz. I was in theater, so my goal was I wanted to have all the main roles, all the main parts in musical, obviously. And if I'm in the chorus line, because it was always in a musical, 2 casts for a musical. In one cast you could act, and like if you got a role, and the next time when there's another person acting that role, you are in the chorus line, so you're a dancer. And I always, if I'm in the chorus line, I have to be in the first line everywhere, all the parts, you know.
Of course.
And then when it came with jazz at the beginning, I just wanted to I wanted to be everywhere with dancing. I wanted to travel the world, to be at every single possible festival. And I guess when I entered the swing dance community, I of course wanted to be the role, living the role of the teachers in swing dance community, not knowing that the role of the teachers is just teaching literally 99.9% of the time. I was mostly seeing that role as a lot of appearances on stage and a lot of performing. But when I got that role, finally in the end, I realized it's 99.9% teaching and trying to stay alive during the weekends energetically and teach good classes, and then that other 1% is performance. So now my goal switched as well, because I decided, okay, I don't want to just be a teacher. I just want sometimes to be a teacher, but most of the time I want to be just dancing and I want to be a performer. So now my ship is facing this other direction of searching different ways of just being the performer. Yeah.
Yeah. So now you are more thinking about the stage. Yeah, like Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you explain us a little bit more from there, like kind of gossips or? I don't know what's happening with you now in the project that you was doing now. Like, what is changing?
Well, currently, right now, I'm in stagnation at home.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
uh,
now,
when
before the
before
days,
happened
before
the
yes,
war,
yes.
and then
Well, so in fact, it's not only about dance now, because somehow the two other things that I love to do is I love to sing and I love to act. They are coming together because David and myself we're finalizing a new album with more singer-songwriters content where I wrote the songs, and then I'm preparing already a film, like a video clip to do for it, where there is a acting of drama, because I'm not me singing, I'm a different persona, let's say, where there's dancing, not only to jazz music, but because my music that we are doing is not really jazz, it's more like maybe jazz pop, something like Melody Gardot or something, you know, on the between the lines. Yeah, and it's the singing, so it's kind of now the work is in the merging of all the things, you know what I'm saying, and finding some synergy or combination mix among those things. And last years we did our show, for our first dance show, like a monoplay called Radio Hermitage, which was the story of how I discovered jazz. And it was a taster. We tried to do it with David. It was like quartet and myself, a 1-hour theater piece. We didn't really tour much. We performed several times in Ireland, in north of Spain once, and that was pretty much it. Because we are just baby chickens in this business, or in this stage of performing some pieces right now.
so
But we are
a 1-hour concert with the musician.
1 hour. It's a 1-hour dance piece. So it's a story. There is a story. There's lighting design. There's storyline. So it's not just concert where there's some dance music connected.
And you dancing there alone, or you have somebody else in
I'm dancing there alone. Yeah, different things. There's choreographies. There's more kind of contemporary, because in order to bring something to stage, then you understand. And I remember, Adri, with you, we had this conversation once. When you bring something on stage, you cannot be pure style anymore. You have to start mixing things, because you have to start using all the possible means to transit, to express some things with just the pure style, specifically styles like any urban style, locking. Like, you cannot show a 1-hour theater piece with just locking. You have to start mixing things.
You need to
so that's
for a different way.
Exactly. So this kind of discovery was there, but that piece, I decided to leave it now and to say, okay, it's been done. It's been a tryout pancake, and it's great. I don't want to drag it after myself after 5 years again. So we leave it behind. It was a great experience. We'll see. Maybe the seed idea might convert into something new. But now I have a different idea, and we're working on it as well. So, in fact, there's so many projects that sometimes I'm sitting a bit paralyzed, which to take and which to start working on, you know? My God, now I have all of these ideas, and so now I'm responsible for them as if they're my little children, to do something with them, you know?
Well, but it's good, no? To have this kind of energy and to have this kind of confusion, even that where you can go, where the problem is when you don't have ideas. But when you have a lot of ideas, it's super cool. Maybe
it's cool, but I'm realizing that the next stage, which is the stage of realization, those ideas, is the one where you have to have really bravery and bravery to start actually doing stuff.
Out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, because you need to start writing emails, you need to start doing all other things, but you guys know that has nothing to do with the dancer's life and nothing to do with just being a dancer performer. That has to do with organization, finding, making decisions, searching for stuff, and except for that as well, financial part and all that.
Well, it's the step of dream to put in the reality.
Yeah.
Okay, and with like, as you told about that you doing album with David, you've been doing, and you were singing, it came to me the next question. About singing, actually, yes, because you have the skill to sing. Not everybody dancing, not all dancers can sing. How do you think the singing are helping you to dance differently? Is it helping you? Is it giving you more opportunity or something? Or you are separating these functions, like I'm singing here, I'm dancing here, or it's really helping each other to develop? I don't know, dance helping you to develop the singing skills, and in the other way. What do you think?
Yeah, it's not separating. For sure, it's a mix of things. And we were just actually, funny enough, discussing that with David. Well, for me, first of all, it's hard to say if I can compare, is it helping or not? I can only say how it is with me, because I cannot do the other way around. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
And with David, we were discussing this idea that, for example, for me, it's not so difficult to invent melodies, different melodies. When we are workshopping with him, you know, when we create songs, I just come up with melodies quite quickly, well, at this moment. And just today, when we had our hour of listening to music, we were just like with headphones, 1 hour, we just listened to an album, you know, not doing anything, we're just listening. All of a sudden I realized how many solos I've heard, because I'm listening to jazz, is my favorite style of music to listen. How many solos of jazz I learned by choreographing them, or by just dancing to them, improvising many, many times. So I learned so many solos. And what is a solo of a musician over a theme? Is creating melodies, continuously creating melodies. And you know, only now I'm realizing that over years, it kind of accumulated to this ease of catching a melody, and as well just producing a melody just like that, you know, on the spot, just because it's been many, 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 many hours of listening to that. And in terms of for dancing, I think when it comes to jazz, because it's hard for me to say, maybe for the other styles as well, singing even in your head or scatting helps a lot, because you create phrases. First of all, you just create even length phrases, you know? If you have a phrase, and you feel the length, a certain length. But then another thing, what you can do, and you can sing it in some different keys, like you can dance and visualize with your body these intricacies of up and down, light or strong, syncopated, or you know, this kind of things. All of a sudden, because I think through the mouth, a body perceives faster. If I'm just trying to do it, or if I'm telling myself ba di da, like a body just understands, because we so used to our mouth.
Yeah, actually there is some movements, some techniques in the contemporary classes, or not maybe only in contemporary, to use the voice and body movement to translate it to each other, no? And this is how it's working, no?
Yeah, well, of course, I was practicing so much this in contemporary, but I think that all the good dancers, they was singing a little bit the movement, because I was listening.
Yeah, that's cool.
It helps me as well when I'm learning from someone. Like yesterday, I decided to try Pantsula class
online,
and it's online, and it's a completely different music. And when you are faced with a music that you might not understand, the structure, the rhythm, the beat so much, it's super syncopated, everything, you know. I just realized I'm going to watch many times, and I'm going to be able to remember the phrase. I will just put the moves in that phrase, because just trying to learn a move and connect with another thing, then I will never be able to just say it, you know, like say a phrase with your move. And so I did that. I learned, and I was like, whatever the rhythm was. And in the end, because move's not so difficult to learn, but the timing and the rhythm and the accent was made it so much easier for me.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, we keep like this, like about not jazz styles.
Oh, can we ask for before we start about not jazz, once about jazz? One more question for me. Okay. One more question for me. It will be about as you told, you were listening a lot of jazz music, and you are still listening all the time. And we know now that there is loads of jazz genres yes, that is not only one genre. There is a lot, and from the history, and now still in this moment, it's appearing new collaborations, new interpretations of jazz. And for us, it was interesting, like between all of the styles that existed now, you dancing like you represent swing style, yes? Well, mostly swing music or swing dance. So the question is, what from this style, from swing style, keeps you? What in this music keeps you dance this style? And the other question is like, if it's not only, do you practicing with another styles of jazz? If yes, what's this jazz, or what's those composers or artists? And what is your relationship with another styles of jazz? But first, what keeps you dance swing and still like now keeps this music of the 2030s?
In fact, swing is well quite a broad timeline, you know. So for example, if we say the end of 10s up to early 30s, that was all sorts of hot jazz, Charleston, ragtime. And then from 30s and up to today, there are swing style compositions. But you can say, is jazz at Lincoln Center swing? Yeah, it is swing. It's today, you know. Is Oscar Peterson, which is 50s, 60s, 70s, he's swing as well.
Yeah.
It's different type of swing. Is Duke Ellington and Illinois Jacquet swing? Yeah, it's swing, but it's more the end of 30s, 40s. So a swing can be as well very, very different. It can be very traditional. Like in swing dance, Lindy Hop community, we dance more to the feel of Illinois Jacquet. Very sharp swing, very on point, strong structure, where the definition would be where the bass, double bass, and the drums are keeping the time, and they never go off to do crazy things, right? And then, for example, my absolute beloved, it's like Red Garland Trio, Ray Bryan Trio, Oscar Peterson Trio, Bill Evans Trio, all trios. In those trios, bass and drums quite oftenly are having a lot of feature to improvise. Although again, depends. For instance, in Bill Evans Trio, you would say again 60s, 70s, super much freedom. Not so swing, although can swing as well. Oscar Peterson, way more swing, same time, 60s, 70s. It is just hard to say what swing. Many people say that, oh, Oscar Peterson is jazz. In swing community, they say, oh, this is jazz. We don't dance to jazz. It's like, what? What do you mean is jazz? Everything is jazz. You know, it just depends how strong is swing and how defined. You know what I mean? The more classic 30s, 40s is super, super defined. Yeah. For me, it's not so interesting anymore. It became too predictable. My heart lies together with the trios most of the time, like people like that I named, Red Garland, Oscar Peterson, Ray Bryan, Ben Webster, quintets sometimes. But this time, 50s, 60s, 70s, where there is freedom and there is predictability, but equally there is not so much predictability. So it's kind of borderline. But when the jazz becomes like a free jazz or experimental jazz, when there is almost nothing to hold on to, and there is no swing, and the swing is as well just technically, it's this feeling. If there's no swing, but that's already just jazz music, it doesn't swing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So swing is not the name of the style, as well just the presence of this.
The vibe.
And that feeling, answering to your question, is the one that just makes me like do this, you know. I can't hold on as well. This is something beautiful into this feeling, you know, this expression they say when people listen to swing, they feel happy. Okay, it's such a bland thing to say.
Yeah,
but it's true that there is something in this release of notes and the syncopation that just makes you feel good. That just makes me feel good for sure.
Yeah, you like this groove. You like the groove.
Yeah, I absolutely like this.
Yeah,
and as well, yes, and you know, my being as well is not very dark. So when the music, when jazz becomes a little bit too dark,
yeah,
I can hold on with it for some time, but then I drift away because I need a bit more lightness, like bright, bright feeling, and swing like Oscar Peterson things with their light, but stylish. it's light. It's not dark music.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. Wow, so cool. So, and what is your like for me, it was interesting the moment if you are trying maybe sometimes for yourself in the room with another style of jazz. Maybe you can take some spiritual jazz or Afro-Cuban jazz, like super fast, or some avant-garde like abstract jazz, free jazz, or something from electronic jazz that happening now. Do you practice with this jazz or mostly no?
Sometimes I, in the room, would practice to just like more melodic things, like Ahmad Jamal, you know, and things that he would create. Or sometimes I would just put things like Melody Gardot or Alan Stone or, you know, pop. But if it's melodical and soulful and somehow it touches me, I might. And definitely I like jazz with Afrobeat. Or for example, Red Garden, Duke Ellington, they love to have songs with a lot of percussion that is Afro-inspired.
Yeah.
Or with African rhythm or whatever. This kind of things where it helps me to tap into the West African movement, the things I learned in École de Sable, you know, like boom, boom, like this kind of groundness, and to feel a bit more grounded, to use the floor a little bit more, this kind of things I love.
Nice. And we go to the question, actually. She's now in the moment of your question.
Of JazzBetween?
No.
Not jazz.
Of not jazz.
Es que we have a lot of questions for you in the list.
We see now. We will select.
Well, about not jazz, what is the style that you are practicing now that we know that you are practicing a lot of different styles and even you are going to watch different performances and jams and everything? What is the styles that is touching you now?
What jazz, you practicing more out of jazz?
I'm practicing flying low technique. I absolutely adore it. You know, we met once in the room with you, Adrian. It's a big challenge for me, but I absolutely love and adore it. And I go really in little tiny steps with it when I get my one little move where I feel comfortable. But you know, whatever styles I practice, in the end, I want to drag them to my nest of jazz. I'm going to practice it a little bit, okay, in a flying low way. But then I want to take that move and be like, okay, let's see how it's going to fit in my little nest here of jazz, you know? And African dances, West African dances, or any African dances that I can go to. I love that feeling as well, because there's so much connection to the jazz movement and this kind of unbelievable energy and rhythm and footwork and all the body moving, not only feet, is phenomenal. It just drives me, like my head just flies out because I just feel pure energy, pure contact with the dance. But again, I practice that, and what I want to do with it, I want to bring it to my jazz, and I see how it's good. In the end, all of it comes home.
That's nice.
Or we are doing the same, like catching, like biting something and
No, actually, it's the way of, for me, it's the way of development of the artist. You have your craft, let's say, you are keeping doing it, but then you need the new incomes, yes, like income seeds. The seeds is going to your ground and it's changing your style or changing a little.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You very beautifully how you said it, and that's exactly how I feel sometimes. The things you try are so like they give you so much influence, they just touch you so much that you just switch the whole direction, and like an animal you go into that direction, and all of a sudden everything you've done before just became something else.
Yeah.
Well, I remember one time in JazzBetween in October, I think, that it was a collaboration between Transregular and Claudio, with the band of Claudio, that you was dancing. Well, you was uploading the other day, I think, the round, that it was with electronic music. And
in October there was a jam session of DJs like James Rudy, and there was jamming with the musicians, like jam session free, and
it was beautiful to see all these seeds in your body, that is like not a pure swing like how I'm normally watching you. Maybe you can explain us how you feel, because you was writing a so beautiful text
How you felt on that moment? I mean, there was for sure not your music, like not, let's say, not your typical for performances music. It was a challenge for you, and that was really nice. So what was your like feeling, or how did you struggle all the time to be on the beat, or to be like I don't know, to follow one music, or you were struggling to keep your style with this music that was not swing, or your dance was totally changed because of the music? Tell us something.
I was not trying to make my style, to keep my style for sure. Instead, I was trying to a little bit step out of my style. But the style is something that is just impossible to do in a click of the song, to just leave it behind. What I realized after I danced, just after I danced, I remembered that the challenge was called Footworker, you know, Footworker's Ballet. Shit, I didn't do any footwork necessarily. Because somehow the moment when I came in, like went on the space to dance, I'm a melody girl. I'm just such a melody girl, and I'm just following the melody straight away, in the sense that it just takes me and I want to express the melody. And I'm not the kind of person who would dancer that would come out, hear the song, and be like, I'm gonna add a lot of rhythms right here. Come on, blah, 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 things that don't exist there. So because the rhythm was so steady there, and the big changes that happened, they were melodic. So I just went with that kind of vibe, you know. And I guess in a certain moment, I was not in the now. I was thinking, oh my gosh, I need to do something impressive here, because, you know, it's a footwork. Obviously, it happened for a moment, but then I got into the now. And for me, it's the most precious thing ever, is to manage to get into the now. And the most frustrated feelings I get if after such experience I didn't manage to get into the now even for a little while, because then I just wobbled around the room trying to prove something to someone, and not really living the moment, the raw kind of experience, you know. So I absolutely love this kind of challenges. They push me to have bigger ears. They push me to find a little bit expression. Obviously, for this exactly, you need to train your body more, so that in those moments, your body is ready to express more brave ideas that you have. And if you didn't train the body for braver moments, then you will just be in your little box of your kind of expression possibilities, you know?
Yeah.
So in that moment, I was thinking, I would love to go on the floor now, and blah, 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 but I didn't train my body yet to confidently do that. You know what I'm saying?
We just go.
No, you see, I have to be sure that, like, there's one thing I do agree with. This guy, Kenny Werner, talking about, is a jazz pianist, and I learned a lot from him, because he's teaching jazz musicians how to improvise. And for me as a dancer, like literally half of my vision of how to improvise is based on his teachings. It's on YouTube, so you can just Google Kenny Werner. Kenny, Kenny, Werner, Werner. So, effortless mastery, David Duffy is telling me. David actually presented this guy to me about 4 years ago, when seriously changed my world.
It will be
one thing
that that people can also, who's listening, check this later. You found
absolutely, yeah. Kenny Werner, yeah.
Kenny Werner.
Everything that you can watch from him is precious, and I as well watched his live concert. His live concert was him improvising for 1 hour without a pause. It's no songs. He didn't play songs. He just improvised for 1 hour.
Yeah.
But anyways, one of the things that he said, he's like, when you go on stage, don't practice on stage. Practice off stage.
I understand this conception.
You know what I mean? So I didn't want to practice my flow work on stage. I'm practicing here. Then when I want to be confident that my tool will not flop in the moment of me trying to express something.
Yeah, I can understand this. Yeah. There is some ideas about this. Well, a lot of artists, dancers, I think, struggling all the time with this, to be or not to be now, right now, like, how to say, presenting your skills that is not trained yet, but now I want to do it. And it's always the question of yeah, to be or not to be. Yes, but yeah, if you made this decision, it's cool to have it like, okay, I never will do this, or like never will be done.
In fact, I went to the kind of a little bit to the, I touched it at the very beginning, but that was as like further would be off my comfort zone. But I still wanted to be as free as I can within my, you know, off practice state, within my confidence state, you know, because only
improvisation is about not well, it's also under the question, what is improvisation? It's trained or untrained skills, because for me improvisation is also can be untrained skills that you're just doing right now because the space is giving you opportunity to do something, or music change, or some factors, outside factors that affecting on you, and you starting to improvise. And here is the question, yes, so where is the improvisation?
Well, it's a lot of perspective.
Yeah.
Well, for me, when in the moment when you improvise, you do not, of course, you do not plan, you do not, you know, practice your whatever you're gonna improvise or whatever. No, you are just flowing. You are responding, but
what's happening? Yeah.
Practiced in advance. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to. You have to practice your highs and lows, your fast footwork, your slow footwork, your rhythm, your musicality, your flow work, your off work, I don't know, your everything. You have to practice all of these little bits so that then when it comes to let's go, respond straight away now, that your body's ready. But because, and that's, again, this guy, Kenny Werner, for me, is my teacher. I never really met him, like I never said hello to him, but he doesn't even know how much he affected influence in an amazing way in my life. But that's his way. He teaches how to practice improvisation for jazz pianists, and his technique is called limitation. I absolutely took that technique for my dancing, and I decided limitation is brilliant, because what's practicing improvisation by improvising is not really practicing anything. You're just reinforcing things you have. You're just swimming in the pond you already know. In a sense, maybe you go off a little bit, but the idea is to limit yourself to a specific thing. It can be super, super small, like to practice a specific rhythm, a very specific rhythm, or whatever, right? Or a specific movement, or a specific styling. And you can narrow it down as much as you want for yourself. But the more you practice those limited things, in the end, when you come out to improvise, they are your ocean of technique that you will be able to do.
It is.
And if you're just playing things, I know my strength is to turn on the right leg. I will always turn on the right leg. So if I never practice the limitation of all sorts of ways to turn on to the left, I will never turn to the left. So it's you know, blah, 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 this kind of things, you know? So for me, the result of improvisation is hugely practiced.
Yeah.
But the moment, so that your tool is ready to produce.
It is. Yeah, it's nice. And okay. And about the not jazz things that we were telling, and in continuation of the inspiration. So now we have the pianist, just to check it, because we'll be checking, and the people who is in the chat can also see it. We would love to know from you some names, 2, 3, I don't know how much you want to say, one name from the dancers, the new generation of dancers that you know now in jazz and not in jazz, that is inspiring you now, and or you can really recommend it to check, you know, to check out. Like you recommend me, Marina, check out this dancer because of this, like this your inspiration, because he's special doing something. Can you just name to us some artists?
Yeah. So for example, for a long time in the house dance world, a big inspiration for me was Mamson, and still now I think Capella is what added to that circle. But Mamson was the first person that I saw him on the internet, I don't know why, and I was just, oh my God, incredible. And I connected as well with his he's very fluid. He's very thin and long and fluid, and you know, he's not like, bah, this is what I don't have. My weakness is to be grounded and strong. So I connect more to the thin, airy, flexible, sausagey kind of dancers. Yeah, so I absolutely love his style. P. Voss, from the current dancers of African dance styles, that is doing things with urban dance as well, but I love his traditional style of West African Senegalese styles. For me, the pure style of African dance is incredible and super challenging and hard.
Yeah, I know. You remember him on JazzBetween Party?
Yeah, of course. That he was coming with Nico.
Yeah. Yes.
Of course.
That's nice.
Wow. I
Maybe some contemporary dancer.
Yeah, what I'm thinking, I love a lot of contemporary dances, in fairness, but not so many dancers from the current world somehow, contemporary dance somehow. Chris, but I don't remember his name. He's doing a lot of kind of breaking bones kind of style. Chris from Czech Republic. But from contemporary dance.
Chris.
Yeah, Mr. Chris, I think that is in Instagram.
Yes.
Okay.
You know, from contemporary dance, I'm more following companies, and big fan of Batsheva. Batsheva Dance Company, obviously the whole technique and how it looks and the dance style. Pina Bausch, because this is something for me absolutely far away and unreachable somehow, I don't know, because of her super strong combination with acting and drama in her dance. So how she manages to dance drama is beautiful, and I find it like one of the highest ways of doing the drama through movement, you know.
Well,
yeah,
this company changed the game. These two companies changed the game of the contemporary.
Yeah.
Everything. And what dancers, because now the young dancers for sure, they are writing you, because now you are one of the names and these kind of things. What dancers you know that now they are the new generation of jazz?
Of jazz, swing jazz styles, and all that. Was a lot, really a lot of great. Well, I really like a Swedish guy called Felix Berghall. Felix is from Stockholm, and he's amazing how he can take different style. He's not modern in his way of dancing swing. I wouldn't say he's experimental. More he's trying different styles of the greats of jazz, like Gene Kelly and Fred Astaire, Nicholas Brothers, and beautifully embodying all of that. And I'm quite fascinated by people who do that, because I'm not so good at just becoming the characters, you know. I'm always kind of looking, but then I always want to keep my own thing. And if I would have a task to look exactly like, you know, Fred Astaire, or do a dance that is exactly like Fred Astaire, I don't think I would succeed in that very well. I like to take little beats, but then to just keep it being more my own thing, you know. So Felix, who else? Let me think. Helena. Now, oh my gosh, she will kill me if I not pronounce her surname right. Kininkairo?
I remember.
Helena from Croatia.
She's wonderful. Yeah, she has the vibe and the style is like swing, but I'm looking like her, not so traditional. Maybe she's traditional, but I see her likeness, like groovy.
Very interesting that you say that, because it's the, like, she has a background in street dances and urban dance styles and hip hop and things, but now she's really drawn to discover more super old-time kind of video clips and styles of old-timers. So it's a really interesting illusion of combining kind of urban styles with her isolations and things and rhythms, with a very imitation of an old school kind of jazz, you know. but she's amazing in how she improvises, and her style just is just so hers. You know that what I love so much in the dancers as well today, when you can know who it is behind a shadow blind, you know, behind a blind. That person dances. You can say, yeah, yeah, it's Felix. Yeah, it's Elena.